surprised by what Oklahoma State did last night to Baylor?
Well, I think every game in this conference has been an incredible battle, and certainly watching that battle last night, it comes down to a couple little possessions, a couple plays. I should say a couple little possessions come down to single possessions, and I certainly have a great deal of respect for Baylor, as does our program. I mean, they're really tough on both ends of the court. They can push the ball up the court and score. They have great speed to attack quickly. They can really shoot it. They can attack the rim. They offensive rebound. And then they defend. They're just really stingy. They're tough to score on. So, just really solid all around.
I guess you go into it with the mindset that they're going to be angry and motivated, and that's how you approach it with your team? Them?
Well, I'm sure they're going to play at a really high level, and so we're going to have to meet and exceed that to the best of our ability, the intensity, but also be disciplined at the same time. And I think that's what we are. We're developing that ability to, and I thought we did that in the third quarter of our last game. How do we play really hard but also play really disciplined? And there's a possession in that third quarter where Maddie goes after a loose ball and doesn't get it, but doesn't take herself completely out of the play. The possession's kind of at half court, and then gets back in the play, and then beats two ball screens, and then there's a deflected pass, and then she dives on it at that point in time. And so I think I go back to our first game against Oklahoma when we had a situation somewhat similar to that, and we dove after we took ourselves out of the play, and then Taylor Robertson hit a shot from almost half court, right from the logo at that point in time, which Savannah flew in and contested it. But just that little understanding, that discipline to just not give, to play solid, I think we're getting better at that right now.
Yeah, and you mentioned that third quarter. Was that overall maybe the best quarter you played this year?
Well, I think it was the most disciplined quarter that we've played. I think we did some good things. We saw some different looks defensively. TCU came out and pressed. They guarded some ball screens a little bit differently. We spaced it. We attacked it. We got to the rim, and then when we kicked it out, we got some really good shots out of it too. Defensively, we stayed really solid without fouling. I think that's something that we've got to continue to work on, is that we want to be aggressive and we want to play hard and we want to play smart, but we can't put ourselves in positions where the other team's scoring at the free throw line.
I think the stat is correct, right, Andrew? You've had 17 quarters now where you've given up less than 10 points. That's pretty good. Is that what's that say? Is that team defense? Is that individual? What are you doing to do that?
Well, it's all of it. It's team defense and finishing plays, and that's something that we didn't do a good job of in the second quarter against TCU. We kind of we flipped completely, where we fouled in the second quarter, put them at the free throw line, and we fouled on both ends of the court. We fouled trying to get offensive rebounds, trying to be aggressive. We fouled in some moving screen scenarios, a back screen scenario, some ball screen scenarios. So we put ourselves in tough spots on the offensive end by fouling, and then on the defensive end, we didn't box out and finish at the same level. But some of it comes down to when you don't finish plays, your positioning is you're out of position because you got beat on some action earlier, and now it's hard to get back. And so then you got to go back to, okay, it's more than just we have to box out and be physical. We've got to put ourselves in the right position earlier in the possession.
Coach, when talking about scoring, we've talked about Maddie and JJ a number of times, but these past couple of games, you've had some other players put up some double figures too. Offensively, what's that evolution that you're seeing from the rest of the team?
Well, it's something that's really important for us, in order to continue to grow and find different ways to score. Certainly teams can focus on one player or one action and work to take that away. And so then how do we create some other way to find ways to score, and other players either stepping up and scoring it at the rim, or other players hitting shots. But maybe it's just more of how we screen and how we get the ball moving. And I think we've gotten a little bit better at some of those type of things. Maybe it's we have to keep working on our spacing. But it's really important for us to continue to grow, not only on the defensive end, but certainly to grow on the offensive end. We've got to find ways, with teams that can really score, we've got to find ways to score with them too.
What do you see from Andrews? What do you like about her game?
Well, she's so solid. She's fast. She's solid. She can shoot it. She can get to the rim. She doesn't rush her decision making. She does a lot of really, really solid things, and she's really good defensively on top of it. There's a reason why she was the National Player of the Week. She does more than one thing really, really well.
This is not a big Baylor team by Baylor standards. And I guess one of their players is out, right? Blackwell, I believe, she's been kind of in and out. Has that changed how you approach playing them, since they don't have that traditional Baylor size that they normally have?
Well, if you look at them defensively, they're really tough and stingy. So maybe they don't have the same shot blocker potential, but they do have kids that can block shots because they're long and athletic. They really attack. I think they get to the rim in a lot of different ways. They use some ball screens to get there, but they can get there in transition. They can get there in their post game. They get there on offensive rebounds. They're really quick at rebounding. So I think they've found a way to be highly, highly successful doing what they're doing at this point in time.
How different of a team are they with and without Blackwell?
Well, Blackwell is someone who's their whole team has a great deal of experience. They have 4 or 5 kids four kids in their lineup that have played significant minutes at Baylor, very veteran kids. Then you add Blackwell to that mix, who is a kid who can score from outside, who can really get to the rim, who can score it at the rim, who draws a lot of fouls, but she also has a ton of experience too. Now, her experience may not be at Baylor per se, but she's played in a lot of big games and she knows what that looks like and what that takes. I think she plays with a lot of energy. She makes a lot of things happen for them.
You faced, I guess, 4 of the players on this year's team you faced in the NCAA tournament last year. So winning Kaya, too, has played against them. Is there any carryover there?
Well, there's carryover in a lot of things that the way they attack you. There's carryover that way, but the reality is they're a different team too because of they're graduating their 2 post kids, and we're a different team than we were. We played here at West Virginia last year, and certainly in South Dakota last year. So it'd be a very different, I think, attack approach.